Welcome to another edition of the brand called You. Today I have a very unusual person on our show, Hasnain Waris. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Hasnain, after several years as an art and creative director, decided to move to Sufism. And he's a spiritual coach, he's a Sufi coach, and he's a certified life coach. That's quite an amazing transition. So, Hasnain, tell me a little bit about your early journey and then what encouraged you to go to Sufism.
Okay. See, most of us start up advertising either as art person or copy in creative. So I started as a visualizer in art department. There were initial small setups where I worked based out of Noida and somewhere in Delhi. But I got my big break in Publicis in 2005-7, and that's when I could justify my education and my branding skills apart from showcasing my designing skills as a designer. Then I moved up to the ladder. I joined Everest, and I saw my high point, I would say, in Mudra, Mumbai, and that's where I kind of got sense of fulfillment, and I didn't know what next in advertising. So I think that's when I took a U-turn, and I didn't know what is my next step, because most of us in middle class in this part of the world are groomed that if you are being spiritual or you are being kind of escapist. So this was, I think, maybe my own upbringing, my own conditioning, my own belief systems that were blocking me from taking this plunge, which was like kind of following my heart and doing what I am cut for.
So when you mentioned, I was reading about you, you mentioned that you discovered yourself.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
In layman's terms, I would say discovering yourself is finding your unique gift. It is like when you feel in flow, when you feel in your zone, it is like flying for a bird and swimming for a fish. The day you discover that, this is your thing, I think that's what I call discovering yourself.
Okay, wonderful. Like I keep wondering whether I've discovered myself. I don't know. But Hasnain, let's talk about Sufism.
Please.
Help me understand who is a Sufi. Because most of us have only heard Sufi music, but I don't think people understand who is a Sufi.
Okay. Let me give you the definition which is closest to what I'm doing. Sufi is a person whose intent and thoughts, words and actions are perfectly aligned. In Sufism, at the peak of your experience, all you become is a complete man. Remember that Raymond baseline? It was given by Muhammad Khan, Enterprise Nexus gentleman. The complete man baseline of Raymond is actually Insane Kamil, of what Sufis say that the highest experience that man can have.
And is it only for males or females also?
It applies to both. It's irrespective of gender.
So there could be a complete woman as well.
Oh yes, any day, anytime.
Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, please.
And when you talk of complete alignment, does that need some kind of certification or is it self-realization?
That's a good question. It is a very informal way. That's why we are at times termed as mystics. This is something very mysterious. Most of us think that that you read about spirituality and you become spiritual. That's most of us start that way. But that's the beginning of a journey. Actually, it ends in experience. So knowledge, as Sufis put it, wisdom is understanding what earlier at its best you only knew.
So again, I don't want to labor this point, but how do I determine that I have become a Sufi?
The day you think that you are perfectly aligned on all those 3 points, your home. You may not be wearing a robe that most of us think that, okay, those who dance and howl and meditate in a certain manner, do some breathing exercises, are Sufis. No, it can be anybody. It can be your driver.
Okay.
It can be your lawyer. It can be anybody.
Understand.
Yeah.
Very good. So my next question is, why is God called truth?
So I see, in a way, Sufis can be put in the bracket of pantheism.
Okay.
We see every religion as one.
Correct.
Okay, not just verbally, but it's like somebody who has experienced grape, and he can be comfortable in China, where people call grape something else. In India, maybe it's angur. Anywhere.
Correct.
So we don't bother about that what that thing is called once you have experienced it. So what I noticed in every religion, this truth thing is very common. Bible says the truth will set you free. Okay. In Islam, one of the names of God is Haq. Haq means truth. Truth, if you explain it further, is actually reality. So what Kabir says, that Maya. So most of us see world not as the real thing. We see it through our filters of beliefs, conditionings.
Correct.
And therefore we don't see the real reality. So seeing the real reality, or being in the state where you see things as they are, that is what seeing truth is.
I see.
And that's when you are out of your baggage, what you carry as, as a conditioning,
Correct.
as beliefs, prejudices and other things.
Very true. But most of us have our biases.
Yeah,
We are conditioned by the society we live in.
very true.
We are conditioned by the people we talk to, by the people we read, and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
How can a common man or a common person be able to extricate themselves and say, I will only look at the truth?
Okay.
That seems to be a very, very evolved human being.
Definitely. Definitely. Let me give you an example here. Saints have been talking about this. So breaking this conditioning, they have equated, or going to your primordial state. Now we'll have to introduce one more word.
Sure.
Love. Love state is your primordial state. We lose it the moment we are thrown into the world of duality, the moment we are born and we become conscious that we are bodies, we have to breathe from nose, and fend for yourself. We feel hungry now and all that happens. So going back to that bliss, that primordial nature, is a bit of a challenge.
Okay.
So those who can challenge that conditioning, they have to, and the saints have equated that experience as almost like killing yourself.
Okay.
Like Kabir says, what's that word? I'm missing that. Or Raskhan, you can say. Raskhani yehu ghar prem ka, khala ka ghar nahi. Khala ka ghar is muhavra.
Yeah.
It's an easy task. So, Raskhani yehu ghar prem ka, khala ka ghar nahi. Sees utare haath idhare, tay baithe ghar mai. So you have to clear all your conditionings, all your egocentricity.
For all our listeners and viewers, please explain the doha you just spoke.
Okay. So Raskhan is trying to say that it's not child's play, like being in the zone of love. You have to almost rip yourself of all that you have kept so dear. Okay, in scientific terms, I would say that from I consciousness to being pure consciousness is the challenge.
Okay.
So this I word, this what we call ego, or this egocentricity,
Ahankar.
Yeah, ahankar of any sort. Of people. I've met people who think that their thoughts are dearer to them than their sons.
Correct.
So we have to be very careful. Attachment can be to even thoughts and ideas also.
Understand.
And it becomes very difficult to change yourself later.
Very interesting. So tell me, Hasnain, which love did Rumi and Kabir speak about?
We all are familiar with love.
Correct.
We love our dog, we love our pizza topping, we
Love human beings.
love human beings and all that. But if you watch closely, the love these saints are talking about is little different, yet little similar. So that's why they could not find any other word for the sake of, spelling it. They call it love or prem. But if you ask me, in Hinduism, we have two terms. One is called sur, the other is asur.
Correct.
Who are they? If I may ask.
No, I'm asking you
Okay.
questions.
Sur is somebody who is in perfect harmony with the rest of the universe.
Like a melody.
Like a melody. So he will be in flow. He will live in flow. Asur is somebody who is disjointed.
Correct.
He's playing his own trumpet. He is like, looking, not participating in the rest of the harmony being played by universe. So if you ask me, this love is actually love state that they are talking about. It is not that transactional love. You scratch my back, I scratch yours,
Correct.
and we feel happy with each other. Is not that. So here, the beloved is actually your supreme consciousness. You can call it God for the for giving it term.
Okay.
And Rumi has differentiated a bit. So in this love, the lover becomes beloved.
Okay.
He doesn't love the beloved only. That's the ultimate experience. As Bahubali Shah has said somewhere, Ranjha Ranjha kardi main aap pe ranjha hui. Ranjha Ranjha saddo mainu heer na aakho koi. How can a female become a male?
Okay.
It's not possible. But in this, like Rumi has said, in this love story, the lovers don't meet in the end and live happily thereafter, as we all know. Is that they are together all along. So that means
I understand.
here
Sure.
it is that consciousness, supreme consciousness, that you drop your ego and you live in that bliss, is what saints are talking about,
Nice.
to my understanding.
Very nice. No, this whole discussion is about your understanding.
Yeah.
So my next question is that, we always say that we must surrender before God.
Yeah.
We must surrender in love.
Yeah.
And we also say that when we surrender, we get empowered.
Yeah.
Explain to me.
It is the same thing. Like right now, if you are like I conscious or egocentric, you live very limited. But the moment you are aligned with the life force itself, you are a different man. It's just that.
Okay.
And you can feel it. The moment you drop your baggage, your petty belief systems that you have, then you see
your negativity.
Yeah, everything. Belief is something that limits you.
Correct.
It thinks that you are a body. So man is actually two in one. Sufis say that tum savari bhi ho, sawar bhi ho. So man is actually not just horse. Man is horse rider also. Maybe in this evolutionary journey, man took a evolutionary leap where we became more consciousness and less body. So the moment we are we are aware of that I'm more consciousness and less body, you are in the zone.
Nice. Wonderful. So tell me, what or is there a science behind Sufi spirituality?
Yeah, there is. The moment you drop your conditionings, you become aware of them. God is also called light, by the way.
Correct.
What happens with the light? You can see things. The moment you are able to see your intents, your conditioning, your belief systems, things that limit you, you are out of them. These are just thoughts that you are like empowering just because you can't break those limitations that you have imposed on yourself. They are not your nature, by the way.
Correct.
They are just like how easy it is to see in day-to-day life that people become slaves of their habits. The moment they realize the futility of it, they are out of it. And gradually they can wean out of that bad habit or whatever is not serving them.
So one more question, just continuing our discussion.
Please.
That if the world was to adapt Sufism, all these religious battles that we keep having all over the world, which are crazy ideologies, because every religion basically says there is one God.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Would that conflict also not disappear?
it will disappear in a jiffy.
Correct.
It will disappear like this.
Yeah.
How many of us get baffled by the fact that somebody is reading Ka Se Kabutar,
Yeah.
the other is reading Ka Se Kamal,
Yeah.
and we don't know, but we can compare and then fight. But once we are doing MA Hindi, do you think those symbols which look so different matter?
Correct.
It doesn't matter. You are having angur, you're calling it grapes, and I'm having angur and I'm calling it angur. So can we fight? We are having the same.
And you're drying it and you're calling it kishmish.
Yeah. Somebody comes and with our experience, we know that third one is having another version of it.
Right. Very good. So, two more questions on Sufism before I move to the next part.
Please.
You work with millennials and young people.
Yeah.
In your workshops.
Yeah.
Tell me, what kind of work do you do with them?
My workshops are typical training workshops, you can say. So I have activities which are very powerful. So I teach people how to see truth. It's not just know about it. So I have demonstrations, I have activities, role plays. There is a bit of music that I play. There is a bit of, rituals that I give them, or they can help themselves.
Sure.
So in a way, why I work with millennials primarily is because they can relate to my language and I can relate to their life, and something magical happens.
Wonderful. So my last question on Sufism is your forthcoming book.
Yeah.
Tell me about the book.
See, the title is not final as yet. I have signed the contract. One of spiritual publication, Hay House, is publishing it, hopefully. So they are still to approach me for the final manuscripts, but I have signed the contract. And the book, right now I have spelled it like S for Sufi, as in A for apple.
Correct.
And I'm calling it a primer to Sufi spirituality.
Okay.
That's how I see it. And it is nothing but a sum total or a nutshell of my workshop only.
Okay.
So those who can't attend my workshops for whatever reason can help themselves.
Very
with the
nice.
book.
So Hasnain, let's move to the second part of your specialization, which is the life coach.
Okay.
You do a lot of life coaching. So, I've interviewed a lot of coaches and I know what coaching is. But what is life coaching?
Life coaching is a very holistic term, I would say. But more than anything else, something that pulled me to life coaching was the fact that it is very similar to what I am very comfortable with. Like helping people, or rather teaching people how to teach themselves.
Okay.
So if I can give you an analogy, if you allow me, it will be like life coaching is going to a gym where coach instructs what is in your best, what is best for you. At the same time, you have to lift your dumbbells. So life coaching is helping you find your own keys, open your own locks.
I see.
So life coaching works on the premise that people can help themselves. People have their own answers. It is not mentoring where I give you inputs or counseling. No, it is different thing.
Okay. And you say that people are looking for the right thing in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Help me understand this.
You can look around the world and see all of us are craving one fulfillment in that, the feeling of peace. And how much wrong we do to ourselves in that process of finding that elusive peace. All these bars will close if people know that the peace is within me, but somehow we reach out to that. That is the wrong place where you are damaging your own internal parts. I'm not talking about what rituals society has created. I'm talking about how it harms an individual because he is thinking that I'll find some peace. Of course, we find our peace. So if I can compare, I would say that people are busy finding Anand while Paramanand waits.
I see. Okay. And my last question for life coach before I move to a few questions for you personally.
Please.
Who needs a life coach? How do I, as a common listener
Yeah.
to our conversation, determine that I need a life coach?
If
Is it when I'm very troubled, or is it when I'm stressed, or is it generally to achieve?
Okay, again, coming to that core from where I operate is that state. Somebody comes to a Sufi and says that I want to be your disciple. So that gentleman says, I don't take everybody as disciple. I can take you. Isn't it your duty to serve people, serve humanity? You are such a like known saint of the time. Where should I go then? So he said, no, I look for certain degree of restlessness in the person who I would call my disciple. So, can't you see that restlessness in me? He said, yeah, but you have too much of it.
I see.
So that means somebody who is not very happy with point A and is very serious about owning his own decisions and wants to reach point B and has a conviction. So it's like maybe that person you said that who is very desperate about it, maybe he needs a hospital, not gym.
I see.
So again, coming back to that analogy, coaching is for the people who are like healthy enough and they want to build muscles. Not for people who are looking for spa treatment, somebody helps them, or need hospitalization immediately.
Okay, very nice answer. So let me ask you, I've got time for just 2 or 3 more questions.
Please, you're welcome.
In your life, and you've had a very successful life, and obviously you have achieved a lot mentally, spiritually, and you're in a state which is very different from the common person. Tell me, have you had any people who had an influence on your life? And if yes, what have you learned from them?
Again, it's a very mysterious thing, I would say. If you ask me the difference between a mandir and masjid, I think I was able to cross this barrier, break this conditioning at the age of 7. So, and I was at ease at both places. So you can say that there was influence of my guru. He's the one who gave me this name. I'm named after a saint. If you happen to see 26th January parade, his shrine was there on Uttar Pradesh tabloid.
I see. Okay.
So he has named me after Haji Waris Ali Shah. So Saint Waris Ali Shah, his mausoleum is next to Lucknow. So my guru was his 3rd generation.
I see.
Not as in what do you call it, biological child, because he never married. Sarkar Waris Pak never married. So, but he was his 3rd generation saint, and so I think it was his influence which was there all that while.
Okay.
So one of my friend asked, so you are following your heart now? So I said, maybe I have stopped resisting it.
Very nice.
So maybe I was resisting myself, which my friends in Publicis and other places could see it. I could not see it.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't have that conviction of breaking that middle class, month to month living lifestyle.
Right, I understand. So my last question to you, and this question is on failure.
Okay.
My question to you is that, most of us fail. We learn. And yet, we don't teach our children that it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
We keep telling them first time. Right? And that then manifests itself in behavior patterns.
Yes.
My car must be right in front, whatever happens, etc., etc. Yeah. My question to you, Hasnain, is that as a Sufi, what have been your learnings from some of your mistakes or your failures?
See, I am sum total of all that I have done so far. If I call it success or failure, I am giving label to certain result. If it was above my expectation, I'll call it success. If it was below, I'll call it failure. I think we are a mixed bag, and we should accept that. And having said that, we should not forget that we should move to find our perfect self, find the perfection within as we move up. So, and it is when you operate from that love state, then you'll be less demanding, less unreasonable. That's the only way. That, like Rumi says, wherever you are, whatever you do, always be in love. So he's talking about that love state. Then no questions asked. You can never be wrong. You'll be doing your loving best in the given situation.
Correct. And at that stage, I guess, whether it's failure or success, it doesn't matter.
It's immaterial. It's immaterial.
Wonderful.
Because there are things that are beyond your control. If it's sunny outside, I cannot do anything. But I can find one umbrella and help myself. If there is no umbrella and I'm feeling that the sun is too scorchy, I may cover my hand like this. But I'm helping myself all the same, you know.
Correct. So Stan, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. And for me, this is a great learning on Sufism.
If you say so.
Wish you all the best.
I'm obliged that you gave me a chance to share my story. Thank you so much, Ashutosh.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You podcast. Be sure to visit tbcy.in to join the conversation, access show notes, and discover fantastic bonus content. You can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Simply search for the Brand Called You. Thank you and see you next week.